And greetings, boys and girls around the world. We're talking about time dilution or time dilation. We're not sure if it expands or if it contracts. It probably does both, according to Armstrong. I almost said Armstrong. Armstrong was a leader of a religious cult. Think Jim Jones or David Koresh. I think of Einstein as the leader of a religious cult. And religious cults tend to have strange doctrines. Time dilution or dilation. We're going to call it diverging clocks. Diverging clocks. The doctrine of the diverging clocks. If you've seen my video, The Magic Shoe, Part 1, you were introduced to diverging clocks because George Bush is wearing a wristwatch, and the pilot of each plane flying near Baghdad or wherever it was is wearing a wristwatch. If these three people passed each other in the lounge of the airport and compared wristwatches, they would show approximately the same time. They could synchronize their watches and then allow the story to unfold as depicted in the video, The Magic Shoe. According to Einstein, now picture you have these three people with three watches. Two of them happen to be in airplanes and one of them is on the ground. And they're observing a moving object. If Einstein was talking about the magic shoe, he would call it the electrodynamics of moving bodies. Oh wow, I tune out. I can't understand that. I'm going to go elsewhere on YouTube and watch a video about titties. Titties or car races or car chases or helicopter crashes, but I can't sit through a video about the electrodynamics of moving bodies. What he was trying to say when he started his cult was that depending on, look, the three watches are synchronized, but when they're watching the magic shoe, one watch runs faster than the other watch, depending on which airplane you're in. Now, in the lobby of the airport, the watches were running the same speed. But if one airplane travels east and the other travels west and they pass each other, relative to each other, one clock is going to be running faster than the other, according to the doctrine of the Einstein cult. And this applies even if two people are walking past each other slowly on walkers in the old folks' home. It applies to two bicyclists who pass each other on the street. It applies to two pilots in the sky who pass each other, one going east and one going west. It applies to astronauts in space or satellites orbiting. Even if they're going at a snail's pace, the GPS satellites go at 2.5 miles per second speed, 2.5 compared to 186,000 miles per second for the speed of light. So it doesn't matter how fast you're traveling. If you're moving, your clock is messed up relative to another clock. Now, as far as you're concerned, your clock is fine. But you communicate on the radio to the other pilot in the other plane. What time you got there, Ding Bang Ow? And he says, Roger, we too low? He's a Chinese pilot. My clock shows 3 minutes after 12. What time have you got, Ding Bang Ow? And Ding Bang says, I've got 2 minutes after 12. Obviously, your clock is running fast and mine's running slow because we happen to be. Now, if we turned around and went in the same direction, so that relatively speaking, we were side by side, then our clocks would be synchronized. Can you at least allow some suspicion to creep into your minds in regard to the Einstein cult? And if you do, then you realize, damn, this hoax is widespread, because even Wikipedia has bought into this hoax, and they're spreading it, claiming that GPS satellite atomic clocks have got to be set back 1/100th of 1/100 millionths of a second, or depending on who you read, a billionth of a second. They have to set the clock back a billionth of a second, and then every day set it back a billionth of a second, a billionth of a second, a billionth of a second. You see, that's so well inside the margin of error, it is insignificant. When you mess with your clock to such a slight, trivial, indiscernible degree, it has no effect. If you neglected the diverging clock phenomenon, it would have no effect on your ability to locate a point on the face of the earth using the GPS satellites. And if you added the error of the Einstein divergent clock BS, it still wouldn't affect your ability to navigate, because it is so incredibly trivial, insignificant, indiscernible, undetectable, irrelevant, based on a false notion. That's what intrigues me. I'm wondering who, how, why this hoax is pushed off on the world. What is the motive? Who's doing it? I got a clue as who's doing it, but I haven't figured out the motive, unless they're using Einstein as a figurehead of a kind of a green energy movement, the aim of which, green energy, here's the aim of the green energy movement. If you think about it, the Chinese believe in green energy. They're building photovoltaic panels as fast as they can. They believe in green energy. The Chinese, they believe in it. They're building these solar panels to sell to the USA. They're not going to use them themselves. They're going to burn coal. That's a clue as to how the green movement works. The aim of a competitive foreign power would be to stifle, stymie, slow down, confuse, baffle, stupefy their competition. Thus you have the green energy movement, and I suspect that Einstein is being used as a figurehead, a spokesman, a cartoon, a brand name, a trademark. The same way as athletes endorse Wheaties cereal. The same way as this guy, this actor named Sheen, Martin Sheen, used his fame to endorse Toyota. They're using Einstein and his phony manufactured fame to endorse, I suspect, the green movement. The aim of the green movement, of course, is to economically sabotage the United States of America. That's where I'm going.